Good morning, everyone on the TikTok, because you know we are live on TikTok. Better? Yes, better. All right. Y'all ready? Y'all make sure y'all talk to me this morning because yesterday someone tried me on TikTok. They were like, she's talking to herself. I was like, no, we got one person asleep over here and 6 other people. Okay? Don't do me. All right? But I guess I do be sounding looking crazy when I'm just in here and y'all ain't saying nothing. So, I told y'all I'm a petty teacher. I'll be like, Sharia, what did I just say? No, I'm just kidding. All right, so today we are talking about one of my favorite subjects. And I know I say this about every subject because every subject is my favorite subject. But I really do love this one because it makes people mad. I like making stupid people mad. Yeah. People that think they know everything, the DIY. Let me just tell y'all last night. So I made the big mistake the night before last, actually, of joining one of those because I said, maybe I should promote myself more in these like DIY nail groups. So because, you don't want to be DIY forever, right? Apparently they do. And so I'm like, this one girl, I said, and I usually stay out of those groups because, people don't like, for some reason, to hear the truth, right? They get mad when you're like, well, going to school might help you understand why you need a UV lamp to do gel nails. Because someone asked in the group, they were like, do I need a UV gel lamp to do gel nails? And I was like, oh, wow, I need to get out of here. Because the comments was what was killing me. It was some girls going, well, technically you don't. You could just put your hands outside and just put it out there, but it would take hours and hours. And I'm like, yeah, it would take never. Okay, you would have to like, I was like, never mind. I changed my mind. I don't want to be in here. I will let them come to me. When they're ready, they will come. So anyway. But this particular subject, the nail structure disorders and diseases, the reason I love this chapter so much is because it's the basis of everything that we do. You need to know the parts of the nail. You need to know what they're called. I can tell a licensed nail tech that went to a decent school, okay, just by talking to them for 5 minutes, okay? When y'all start saying stuff like, the cuticle, and you're pointing at all that skin that's around the nail, I'm like, no, that's not the cuticle, or when you say the tip of the nail, you don't use the word free edge. We as professionals, you want to act like one, don't you? Because it sets you aside or sets you apart from other people, okay? So you'll hear me say sometime when you say, Miss Mary, I painted my nails last night. I'm like, you did what? Excuse me? We do not paint nails. We paint houses and cars. We polish nails, right? We polish nails. We are professional polishers, okay? It's to hairstylists too. Then I dyed my hair. No, you don't. We dye Easter eggs. We color hair, okay? This is just something when you become a professional, you learn how to speak properly, okay? And so a lot of times people get mad when you correct them. We don't use drills. You can buy drills at Lowe's. We use electric files, e-files, okay? Yeah, well, I catch myself saying it sometimes too because for some reason they still call them drill bits. So it's like, okay, well, it's a drill bit, but we don't use a drill. But if you want to be professional when you're talking to other professionals, then you want to speak like one. I mean, if your doctor, called your vajayjay a cooch, you'd probably be like, excuse me? There's technical words. So today you're going to learn these words and what they mean. And the great thing about it is you'll have to spit this out one day on your state board. Okay, and this is very important information so that you can pass it because the state board is broken up into sections. 40% of the state board is based on the scientific methods and the science behind nails. They ain't gonna ask you nothing about polishing. Okay, they're not gonna ask you any questions about glitter and extendos. Okay, they are, however, going to ask you about onycholysis, onychomadesis, what is the nail plate, what is the nail bed, the epinechium. So today you guys are going to get a lot of information. So make sure you write down notes, take notes. I promise you that this is going to be easy. Okay, this is not Harvard. Okay, you're not going to be doing brain surgery, but you do need to remember this information. I am going to make sure that you get it in the best way possible so that it's easy for you to remember. Okay. Y'all ready? All right. Did I scare y'all a little bit? It's a lot of information. All right. By the way, we are live on YouTube. You guys will get the replay for this if you ever want to go back and watch it. I go live for live purposes of getting students in here. Once the live is over, that stuff is no longer on YouTube for people to just watch. Okay, so you guys, I do it that way so I can record it and then have it for you as a private link. Okay, so today, what we're going to talk about, nail structure disorders and diseases, okay? We're going to talk about the natural nail unit, which is what we as nail technicians work on. It's called the natural nail unit. We're going to define that and label the parts of the nail, okay? We're also going to talk about some things that affect nail growth, okay? Give you some facts and some fiction and all of that stuff about nail growth, because some of y'all think you can just, put a little special oil on there and it's gonna grow or something and just splash holy water on it. That's not how it works. We're gonna talk about unhealthy conditions and also what is your scope of practice. Okay, you guys need to be aware of what your scope of practice is and what scope of practice is in general. Okay, because you can get yourself in a lot of trouble if you don't practice within your scope. Okay, now let's get started. Why should you learn this stuff? Well, I kind of explained that already. First of all, if you are a nail technician, you should know everything that you need to know about your profession, okay? But your job as a nail tech is simply to expertly beautify and groom nails, okay? We are not doctors. We are not nurses. You might be in your other licensed life. But when you sit in that nail chair, you're no longer allowed to do those things that if you are a doctor or a nurse, that's none of, not within your scope, okay? So scope of practice is what you are legally allowed to do, okay? And people, I get this, people say all the time, what are you, the nail police? Well, I'm not. However, I will be called as an expert witness when you go to court. You can call me what you want, but I'm going to look you right in your face and need something to say now. I told you not to do that, and you did it anyway. Now Judge Judy about to make you pay these ladies' bills for the rest of your life, okay? So, and there are things that can happen to clients that we are the cause of. Don't let it be you. Okay, and it's little stuff, the stuff you see on the TikTok every day that these girls are doing down there in Mexico or in California or one of these places where, they just let people run rampant. Atlanta, okay, Augusta, doing stuff they're not supposed to do. And you're just watching it and you're thinking, oh, this is great because they got a huge following. Well, they also probably don't have a license either. So you can't lose what you ain't got. Y'all hopefully will get one, and you're paying a lot of money for it, so I wouldn't risk it. Okay, so that's a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about today. So you are basically able to give your clients guidance on what to do when you do run into something that is abnormal. Okay, now my mama used to say normal is the setting on the washing machine. Well, in the nail world, normal is normal. Okay, if it don't look normal, don't mess with it. Okay, and we all know what I'm talking about. You look at something and you're like, just don't do it, okay? Refuse service. We all have the right to do that, okay? Now, listen, I cannot stress how much that drives me insane when I see y'all with all them acrylic on your toes. It's kind of cute. It actually looks a little weird. Look at hand feet. Why do you have 2-inch toenails hanging over the edge of your slippers? French tips that are this long. It's not good for your feet. It's not good for your toes. You are causing the problem. Don't do it to your clients, even if they beg. But that's a whole nother, we will get to that, promise you, okay? Now, you need to know the difference between the cuticle and the epinechium, and I can tell you this. Nobody knows what the cuticle is or the epinechium on the internet. Okay? They don't have a clue. Because you see them all day chopping and cutting all that skin around the nail, and that is not cuticle, people. That is living tissue. Okay? We're going to get to that, but it is your job to know the difference. Because when you start cutting and hacking on people, you are no longer within your scope of practice. You have now become a surgeon. And I don't think any of y'all in here are a surgical tech. I could be wrong. But even if you were, you still got to do it up under a doctor's care. You can't just go hacking on somebody. Okay, so again, when we do go into surgery, don't we use sterilized implements? Don't they bring out the packs of stuff and pull it out of packages, and they wear masks and they cover it? This is all for a reason, okay? So we don't want to be doing things that can get us sued and lose our licenses, okay? This chapter is also going to get you prepared for more advanced techniques and more advanced training. For instance, the A&T course, which is the Advanced Nail Technician course, okay? That is a medical grade pedicurist course. You can do medical pedicures with that license. But if you don't know this stuff, forget about it. You're not even going to pass the test, okay? So, moving right along. What is the natural nail unit? Okay, what is that? That is literally the only part of the nail that we deal with, okay? And it starts from the first knuckle to the tip of your finger, all right? Everything else, we're getting into the hands and all that stuff. We're not doing putting acrylic on knuckles, okay? So, it's composed of several parts, and these are the parts we're going to talk about today, all right? The nail bed, the matrix. Don't feel like you got to write all this down, because we're going to talk about each one individually, all right? The epinechium, the hyponychium, specialized ligaments, nail folds, okay? Now, the technical name for the nail, when you start hearing medical words that deal with the nail, diseases that deal with the nail, you're going to hear onyx, okay? Because the technical name, medical term for the nail is onyx, okay? I think that's a stone, isn't it? Like a black stone? I remember it used to be a group back in the day, telling my age. They were rappers, onyx, black guys. So I guess that's the medical name for the nail, medical term, okay? Technically referred to as the onyx, okay? And it's composed of a protein called keratin. What else is made of keratin? Your hair, your skin has keratin in it. So hair, skin, and nails all kind of are related in when it comes to what they are composed of. Now, but keratin in the nail is much more durable. It's harder than, of course, we wouldn't want our hair to be as hard as our nails, right? So a normal healthy nail has certain attributes. It's going to be firm and flexible, slightly pink in color, okay? You're going to be smooth and unspotted. It's not going to be ridged and bumpy and lumpy, okay? And no splits, no deep grooves in it, okay? And it should have a whitish or translucent appearance on the free edge, okay? Shouldn't be, if your nails are yellow or brown, there you got something going on there. Green, okay? That's not healthy. All right. So the structure of the nail. So we're going to talk about the parts. We're going to label each and every part of the nail that you need to know about. Remember, I told y'all I'm a petty teacher, but I'm fair. So right here, I want you guys to print it out. Take a piece of tape, stick it in front of your toilet, right in front of you, because at least I know you look at it at least 2 or 3 times a day, hopefully more than that. if you're regular, like me. All right. So the first part of the nail that we're going to talk about is the nail folds, okay, and the proximal nail folds. Now, the nail folds, that is the skin around your nail. When you look at your nail from this view, the skin around it, it's like a U shape, right? Okay. So there are two parts that we're going to talk about. That is the lateral nail folds, which is the two legs of the U, also known as the sidewalls. Okay. Lateral side or the sidewalls. What does lateral mean? In medical terms, just so you guys know, I used to be a medic. I was an EMT and I wanted to be a nurse, but I changed my mind because I wasn't going to school forever and I hated people. Sick people anyway. I got tired of being around sick people all the time. It's very depressing. So I became a nail tech instead. But I was really good at medical terminology. I love it because it breaks down the English language. It makes it so much easier to understand when you understand these terms. So lateral literally means parallel. They run to get alongside each other, okay? So when you hear the word lateral nail folds, you know you're talking about the two that are beside each other, okay? Now, the other part that we're talking about is the bottom part, which is that U shape that's at the bottom of the folds, okay? Now, we're talking about the skin around the nails, y'all. The part that you always flood or you get acrylic on it and they start popping off and lifting and stuff. So that bottom part of the nail folds is called the proximal nail fold. What does proximal mean? If I say to you, Sharia, it's 10:30, what's your proximity to the school? How close are you to the school? Because you late. Bring me some Dunkin'. Okay? If you're going to be late, you got to bring Miss Mary some Dunkin'. Okay? Don't get no ideas. But if you're going to be late, I like the refreshers. Anyhow. Proximal means, when we're talking about medical terms, is how close is it to the body? So, proximal nail fold is the U shape that is closest to my body. If it was a distal nail fold, which we don't have one, but if it was distal quite literally means furthest from the body, the distance, okay? So that will help you remember that, okay? So the proximal nail fold is where? That U shape. So most often, it is mistaken for the cuticle. People want to cut that. They want to cut that skin right off at the proximal nail fold. Sometimes they even cut it up there on the sidewalls, especially on toes. I see that all the time. They're just like, just clip. And then they lay it out on the nail like they just killed a deer or something. Like, look at my prey.
She's not wrong though.
Yeah. They lay it out there. Look at all this skin I just cut off. Hey, Mr. Pink, thank you so much. Oh, I got an unboxing video for you.
Is that Mr. Pink?
Mr. Pink. Tickled Pink. Yes, this is my peoples. They sent me a huge box and I didn't order a huge box. So I know there's some special goodies in there. I just got back from out of the country night before last, so I got it, but I haven't opened it. I can't wait though. It's a big ass box, so I know he put some extra stuff in there. I'm excited. So, yeah, no cutting, all right? But that part, the proximal nail fold, is also known as the PNF, okay? So we ain't got to be saying all that in one big mouthful, okay? It make you feel what? Smart, girl, yes. But I mean, you ain't gonna never say that to nobody. Just other nail techs. Your clients be like, the what? The proximal what? Okay, girl, just do my nails, girl. Okay, but when it comes to the state board, we're going to call it the proximal nail fold. Okay? Listen, and it's going to get more and more interesting as long as you do it. Okay? I learn new stuff every day. I am a nail nerd. Okay? I read science books about nails, okay, that are written by scientists. My favorite, I met him at the show. I literally cried, y'all, when I met Doug Schoon. Tears. And they were like, what are you, you're not Michael Jackson. I was like, yes, to me. He's to me. I literally cried, and there's a video of it. I'll show you guys. Anyway, so proximal nail fold, lateral nail folds. We know where they are? Okay, good. Now, if you look at your nail, the skin is the nail folds, right? Well, where it actually meets the nail, those are called the nail grooves, okay? It's just the ditch that you would fall into if you were, were a little ant and you fell into the, side of the nail. What the? Ah! It just flew from the sky. I don't even know what kind of wasp that is. Is that a wasp? Well, I killed it. Let me lay it on my nail and show everybody. Anyway. So, Doug Schoon, he's a rock star. Anyway, so proximal nail fold. Why do you think they call it a nail fold?
Because it's something tucked up underneath.
It literally, when you fold your towels, if you're bougie and you fold them actually fold them instead of just throw them in, fold them. It's like a little bin there that could lift up, right? That's exactly what your nails, your skin around your nails does. It folds down, okay? It could be unfolded too. And you guys see that all the time with these Russian manicures, okay? Russian manicures are not legal in the United States of America. Yes, I know that they are popping up left and right. Well, guess what? There's a boy right down the street that sells that yaya, okay? That's not legal either, all right? Once they figure all this out and they start realizing that these people are doing these things, they're going to get shut down because the fold has a purpose, and it is to protect the matrix, okay? We're going to get to what the matrix is in a minute, all right? Not Neo's matrix. Y'all ain't never seen the Matrix?
They be like,
yeah. Stay on track, Sharia. All right, so I will accept when you guys get your little petty test that I'm going to make for you, because it's not going to look like that. It's going to look like that, but it's not going to be, you ain't going to be able to memorize it and just spit it out. I'm going to change stuff around, lines and stuff. Yeah, so make sure you know this stuff. I'll accept proximal nail fold or PNF, okay? Obviously, the lateral nail folds aren't on there, okay? But you know where they are. Moving right along. The nail plate. What is the nail plate? Well, first of all, it is on top of what we call the nail bed, okay? So think of the nail plate as like a table, a plate on top of a table, right? It is composed of 50 layers of nail plate, okay, 50 layers or less, okay? So a normal nail would have about 50 layers. Some people don't have that many because they let their nail techs pop off their nails with another nail or a credit card or a business card, lovely Mimi. Y'all better stop listening to these people that ain't got a license to lose. I don't like it either, but that's, neither here nor there. Okay? Stop listening to these folks that ain't got nothing to lose. Okay? That's not okay to do that, because the more layers that you lose, the thinner your nails become. And they'll be quick to say, the acrylic did it to me. I don't wear acrylic because it makes my nails thin. I'm going to tell you something. I have never met an acrylic that did anything to anybody. Okay? It's the nail tech that does it. The nail tech is the problem. If your nails are thin, it's your nail tech or you did it because you're popping your nails off. Girl, I took them off before I got here. Well, how did you do that? Well, I just chewed them off on the way here. That's clients that peel their gel polish off. They are the same. That's a problem. Okay, so the nail plate, the cells that create the nail plate are formed in the matrix. Okay, the matrix is a very important part of your nail. We'll get there again. We're going to talk about the matrix in detail. Now, the nail plate also has what's known as a free edge. That's that white or whitish or off-white, whatever color you want to call it, okay, of the nail, that tip, all right, that grows and extends out past the nail bed, all right, the part that we all want to have, right? We all want to have beautiful, natural nails, but if people did, we wouldn't have a job. So you're not going to get those people, the people with the beautiful natural nails. Those people don't come to us. They polish their own nails at home and they, do their own stuff. We're going to get the ones that can't grow their nails, the ones that bite their nails, the ones that, have funny looking nails that don't like the way they look, even if they can grow them. Okay. Now, the free edge, the nail plate has a water content to it. And a normal water content would be anywhere from 15 to 25% water content. Now that number just doesn't matter until you start having clients that have brittle nails. So again, we're not doctors, but we can offer guidance to our clients, right? So if you have a client who's like, I really like to grow my natural nails, but they just break all the time. They're just breaking every time. Just touch them and they break. They may be dehydrated. They may need to stop drinking so much Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks and start drinking more water. Just a simple recommendation, right? Now, healthy nails, again, that water contact will affect the flexibility. So our nails should have some level of flex to them, so that it doesn't hurt when we hit it on something, or so they don't split or crack when we knock them on something, okay? Now, everybody got what the nail plate is and where it is. Now remember, the nail plate itself does not have any nerve endings in it. It doesn't have any blood vessels in it. Obviously, we can trim our nails and it doesn't hurt, right? So where do you think the blood vessels are? Underneath, right, in the nail bed. So when you feel that heat, when someone's e-filing on your nails and they're just like, and you just trying to hold your breath to wait for it to be over, right? They are causing pain on you. That heat is going through that nail plate down into the nail bed, okay? And then you get those rings of fire. We call them rings of fire, where you can actually physically see every fill-in that you've gotten in the past year. That's not a good thing, okay? If your nail tech is causing you to have rings of fire, you need to fire her or him or they or them, okay? On the internet, you got to say everything. All right. The nail bed. The nail bed supports the nail plate, and that's where all the blood vessels are. That's where all the nerves are, okay? All of that is richly supplied by the blood, all right? And it should have, the nail bed should have a pinkish appearance. Now, hopefully you never get to see your actual nail bed in the flesh. But it has been known to happen, especially on the toes, when you got acrylic on them and you kick the wall or you kick you kick some, or you're walking around in your little bitty shoes and you got these extra long free edges on your toenails, and then you wonder why your toenail is popped off one day. You might get to see your nail bed in the flesh. Okay. Now, there's a part of the nail, a very important part that you need to know, which is called the bed epithelium. It is a very thin layer very thin. It's so thin you can't even see it in this diagram here, okay? But just where it says stem cells in the that's epinechium, sorry. You can't see it in this diagram, but what the bed epithelium actually is, okay? Think about your nail. It grows, right? It's growing in one direction. on top of this nail bed. How is it growing without like causing you pain? Right? So let's just say I wanted to push this right here off of the table. Just push it off. Wouldn't it be easier if there were like little greasy wheels underneath it? And I could just like a little truck, just kind of push it off the table instead of just, forcing it, right? So in between the nail bed and the nail plate is a very thin layer of cells called the bed epithelium. When you think about it, I want you to think of it as like little wheels, little greasy wheels that are rolling across, helping that nail plate slide across the nail bed to grow. All right? Think of it as that. And the nail plate. It's a 1 cell thick piece of flesh that helps the nail plate. Again, think of it like a little greasy layer of wheels helping that nail plate slide up the nail bed. Okay? I know I can move on when I stop hearing Anissa's fingernails tapping. You ain't got to say, I'm just joking with you. I know I can move to the next slide. She's still typing. Okay, y'all ready? The matrix, okay? The matrix is the most important part of the nail, and you will hopefully never see it. However, some of these nail techs are touching it and filing on it and grinding on it every single day. Okay? This is the area of the nail that it resides literally right underneath the proximal nail fold. Okay? Underneath the proximal nail fold. And what do I mean by when I say that people are just rubbing on it and grinding on it and e-filing on it? When you see these people doing these Russian manicures, they are disrupting the matrix. Okay? They are disrupting that matrix, and you may not even see the damage that you've done right away. Because a nail takes anywhere from 4 to 6 months to grow from the rooter to the tutor. Okay? From the very root of it to the tip of it. Okay? And no one ever blames their nail tech because you left fine. Your nails was pretty. She even posted them on the gram. You posed for a picture and everything. You didn't tell her that she was hurting you the whole time. Why y'all don't tell people? Ma'am, that hurts. If you've ever had a Russian manicure, or if someone has ever attempted to do that on you or cut your, it hurts. I don't know why these clients don't speak up. Yeah. My nails are bleeding. Tell it and tag you in a private group. They block you, then they tag you so you can't say nothing to it. Anyhow. So the matrix is the area where the nail plate cells are formed. If you damage your matrix or if you destroy the matrix, no more nail for you, honey. Or you get ugly nail, honey. It will grow weird looking, okay? If it grows at all. So it extends from under the nail fold at the base of the nail plate. So it's under that nail fold, that flap that we can get up under with a cuticle pusher or whatever, which we shouldn't be going that deep. Okay? You have no business. Stay away from it. Leave it alone. All right? It contains nerves, lymph nodes, lymph and blood vessels that nourish those matrix cells in that area. Okay? So cells that create the nail plate are born there. That's where they start. Okay, so the matrix is very important. Now, there's another part of the nail that you call the lunula. What is the lunula? We all have one. Yeah, that little half moon looking moon shape. And some people's moons ain't mooning, and some are really mooning. But that part of the nail, like, what is it? Why is it there? Like, what? It is the only part of the matrix that you will ever actually see, hopefully. Okay. So it is the most visible part of the matrix. that extends from underneath that living skin called the PNF. All right. It's whitish, and again, it's at the base of the nail plate. And that appearance, the reason why it's white is because, or looks whitish, is because of the reflection of the light that hits it, okay, on the surface of the nail. And exposes the matrix for its true colors. Okay, whatever color yours is, hopefully it is a whitish color. All right. Now, the growth of your nail is directly affected by a couple of things. Okay, your general health. All right. It's always funny to me. These people are like, I promote healthy nails. Meanwhile, they're 600 pounds and they smoke, drink, and, you know, smoke a little yah-yah every now and then. So funny. Your personal health is going to affect the growth of the nail. Also, whether or not there is a nail disorder or a disease present, okay, your nail might stop growing. Your nails may slow down in growth because you have something going on medically. People who are on chemotherapy, things of that nature, sometimes their nails will change an entirely different color. I had a young lady, bless her heart, she was really young. She was diagnosed with breast cancer when she was only like 24. And when she had to stop getting her nails done for a while, she was on chemo. And when she came back, her nails were black, completely black. Now the black color grew out as, you know, now that she was in remission for a long time. I haven't seen her in a while, but as the nails grew out, the normal color came back. But for some reason, the chemo turned her nails black. Anybody ever know anybody that was on chemo?
Yeah, my mother.
Did it happen to her?
Nails, they went from like normal Caucasian people coming to like it's a darker.
Yeah, so she was white, so they just got darker. On a person of color, it would probably turn, you know, like I said, turn black like that. Those are the things that affect your nail growth, and obviously a healthy matrix. Okay, so again, if you start messing around with that matrix, you could cause your client's nails to just grow funny or not grow at all. Okay, now my favorite part of this whole discussion, the cuticle. All right. What in the heck is the cuticle and what is it not? Well, we're going to first talk about what it is, okay? And then we'll talk about what it's not. First of all, the cuticle is non-living. It's dead tissue, okay? And this is colorless, although when you scrape it, it kind of turns white, yeah, sometimes. But it is attached to the nail plate, okay? We just discussed what the nail plate is, all right? And it comes from something known as the epinechium. Now, we'll get to the epinechium next, okay? And it's located on the underside of the skin, all right, lying above the natural nail plate. So let me break that down. The cuticle is on the nail plate, right? It's not on the skin around it. It's on the nail plate. It has a purpose. And if you ever talk to a doctor, like a dermatologist or someone who directly deals with nails, a podiatrist, they will tell you that what we do as professionals is actually not good for your nails. Meaning, the cuticle has a purpose, and the purpose is to seal down the proximal nail fold to prevent nasty stuff from getting under there and causing disease. Okay? But in order to do our job, we have to disrupt that area, don't we? We have to push the cuticles back, get that skin off of there, because acrylic and gel and all that stuff does not like skin. It will not stick to it. It will for the moment, and then you go home and take a bath and then it pops off, right? Or peels off. So, we have to be very careful in that area because I have seen people push cuticles back into your soul. Like, why are you doing that? It's not necessary, okay? To be so aggressive, all right? Plus, we have cuticle removers or softeners to help get that nail, that cuticle off of the nail plate easier, all right? When I was at the show, I took a few classes. And the reason why I didn't enjoy the show so much this year is because I don't know where they got these people from. Canada, I think. That's where she was from, where no license is required. She had a class called Increase Your Speed, but Keep Your Quality. I was like, oh, this should be interesting. Maybe I can, I like to take those classes so I can come back and, teach you guys. I said, well, maybe this lady, she's got some secrets I need to learn. Well, one of her secrets was, don't worry about pushing the cuticles back. Just take an e-file and just grind it off. Don't worry about the client's pain level or anything like that, because that cuticle is attached to living skin. It's attached to it. Okay? Needless to say, and if there was anyone there at the show, I'm sorry that I made a scene. I just got up and left. I was like, I gotta go. They was probably looking at Miss Mary. Y'all know why she leaving. She said something that just set her off. It triggered me, okay? Because it's not necessary to do that, okay? Pushing back the cuticles is not something that requires a lot of aggression. Now, sometimes we get what's known as a hangnail, right? And a hangnail, the best thing to do to prevent hangnails is to get regular manicures. Why? Because that cuticle, it grows up the nail sometimes. If you probably dealt with people who had really, really bad cuticle, like they haven't treated them at all, right? And so what happens is that cuticle gets pulled from, like, something hit it, or you're digging in your purse and your keys scratched your nail or whatever and pulled that cuticle up, and then it starts to peel back, and it peels back and it's still attached to the nail, the proximal nail fold, and it tears the skin. All right. So in that case, you would use a cuticle nipper to cut it, just to cut that off, because it is very painful, right? A hangnail is the worst. All right. It's the worst. All right. Now, we understand. I want to make sure that you guys understand what the cuticle is. It's dead tissue, okay? Non-living, colorless, easy to remove with gentle pushing and scraping of the nail plate, all right? And there's absolutely no need at all to cut it. Absolutely none. Because it will, if it's dead and you pushed it off the nail plate, washed it off the hand, it's gone, right? Now, there's a lot of confusion in the industry because of product names, right? So if I just told you that this is dead, why on earth would you call something a cuticle moisturizer? Can you bring the dead back to life? I don't care how much holy water you sprinkle on somebody with cuticle oil or whatever, all that stuff. Because we're not necessarily oiling our cuticles, are we? We're oiling the skin around it, right? So, with that being said, things like cuticle nippers and all that stuff, they really shouldn't be called that, because, again, you shouldn't be cutting anything. The only thing you're allowed to cut with your license is the tip of fingernails, okay? You might could trim a hangnail here and there. At the end of the day, the client probably already did that, all right? Now, again, they are confusing, but we know what they're for, right? But nobody's going to call it a proximal nail fold moisturizer, lateral nail fold moisturizer, conditioner, right? A little too long, right? But as a professional, you know what you're using, right? Okay, so I just want to make sure. Now, the cuticle, here's where it gets hairy, y'all, is often confused for the epinechium. So, before I tell you what the epinechium is, if I just told you that the cuticle is dead, then that means something can't die if it wasn't once alive, right? Okay, establish that. The cuticle used to be alive. When it was alive, it was called the epinechium. So, let me explain. The epinechium is living tissue. It is live tissue, okay? And it resides underneath the proximal nail fold, okay? It covers the matrix area. Remember where I said the matrix is? It's back there where you need to leave it alone. Mind your business. Let the matrix do its thing. You do yours over there with the cuticle. Okay? So, the best way for me to explain this is I like to use the vampires as an example. Okay? Now, I know vampires are already dead, but you know what I mean. They're alive, but they dead. They're amongst the living. They walk around talking all that stuff. You know, like we have vampires for real. But you know what I mean. So vampires, when they are resting at rest, where they, because they can't come out during the day, right? So during the day, where do they sleep? In the coffin. Oh, I see y'all know vampires. Okay. They sleep in a coffin, which is dark, right? And that's the only way that they can stay alive, right? Y'all saw Sinners. What happened when they go outside in the light? Start burning up, turn to dust, right? So the epinechium used to be alive, like because it was sheltered underneath that proximal nail fold, but with the matrix where it's safe, right? And then because the nail plate grows, it started growing. And the epinechium, it got out from underneath the nail, proximal nail fold, and it hit the light. It hit the air. It hit the water that we wash dishes with, and the hand sanitizer and all of that stuff, and it died and turned into a new name, the cuticle. Make sense? So, when we start pushing the cuticle back into people's souls, you messing up the ecosystem, right? You are all the way back there in that matrix, messing around with that epinechium that is live, minding its business, trying to live, and you got a whole drill bit down there just digging down into people's soul. Yeah, you see what them Russian manicures do. They take them little pointy drill bits and they dig back there and they lifting it up, and you can see the nail flap just waving like this. You hear the matrix say, "Help me!" And it's all good because you're sitting there trying not to say nothing because you don't want to. She's doing a live right now, and you don't want to say that shit hurts. Excuse me. But that hurts because it hurts. I don't care what nobody says. Nobody ever shows you the pictures of the nails the next day. All red and swollen and raw and probably getting a little scab on them and all that. So let's talk about that real quick. When you cut yourself, let's just say you accidentally cut yourself with a razor or whatever on your hand. What happens? You bleed first, right? Now you got an open wound. Once it starts to heal, then what happens? You get a scab, right? And the scab, it's all crusty and all that stuff. And then after that, after it heals, you got what? A scar. And what a scar what are some of the attributes of a scar? Not only is it darker usually, right? But the skin is harder, it's thicker, right? It might be raised. So what do you think? Let's just make it make sense, y'all. If you just think about it, what do you think happens to those cuticles when you cut them every 2 weeks like that? They just grow back harder and thicker and darker. Y'all all know somebody that got black cuticles. You got a client whose cuticles are black and hard and crusty and need to be cut every single time, right? Oh, I got to cut them again. Well, you're the problem, ma'am. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. I don't care how much, because Shayla, bless Shayla's heart, because I feel bad for y'all sometimes, because y'all get cussed out in these nail salons by these old ladies that I cuss them right back out to. Excuse me, I don't cuss old people, but who the hell you talking to? Okay. She had a lady the other day, No, this was not Shayla. I got Shayla stories too. One of our students she's an illegal. So I'm gonna call ICE on her. She working illegally in a nail salon. But she was like, Miss Mary, I got cussed out the other day. She'll be here at 1 o'clock. Tashiel, she'll tell you. I got cussed out the other day by this old lady. I was doing a pedicure and she said, I need a cheese grater. She said, ma'am, that's not legal for me to use. I don't use cheese graters. She said, well, you need to get somebody else. You don't know what you're doing. I don't want, go get the manager. Loud and wrong. You gonna tell me what's legal? It's not even legal to have those in your salon. If the state board comes and they see one, you're getting a $50 fine off the top because they are meant for grading cheese. Oh, I got a list of them on that paper, which we lost it. I don't know where it's at somewhere. I have to print it out again. But it's listed for you to see. You want to know how much you're gonna be fined if you're gonna do something wrong, don't you? Yeah, because it's a razor blade. It's called a Credo blade. Those are illegal too. Those blades and those cheese grater looking things are used in doctors' offices. Podiatrists use them to surgically remove callus. You make one wrong slip and girl, they're gonna own that bike sitting out there. They're going to take your house, your car, your husband, your kids, everything. Telling you right now, some of y'all might want to go on out there and cut him if you want to. Take this man. I'm tired of him. Okay? So don't do it. I don't care. And she could have sat there and called the manager if she wanted to. Go ahead. Call him. I'm calling the state board if you fire me. Yes, I would. Listen, I wish there was a bounty. I wish there was a bounty for unlicensed illegal activity. I promise you, I'd be rich. I'd be going over there. I go to every salon in Augusta. Can I see your license? And you know you're legally allowed to ask that. Yeah, they're supposed to post it. It's supposed to be visible. You see how my licenses are sitting up there? Because if that state board lady walks in here, she's going to want to see them. Even though they're on the website, it can be pulled up. You need to be able to see them as a customer. You need to know that I am licensed to do what I'm doing right now. Can you believe that? They gave me a license to do this. So don't do it. So, and when I say that, I'm not just saying that because, I'm the nail police. It is beyond your scope of practice to do it. I don't care what they do on TikTok. Y'all, what they do on Beyonce's internet ain't got nothing to do with you. Okay? You will see it all day long. We already talked about it. These videos, they go viral of people. Ooh, I love when they do that to me. You love it until you end up with MRSA. Till you end up with hepatitis or something. Or even a small infection on your toe because you can't walk around. Promise you, if you can't walk, you're gonna be upset. I had cut my foot while I was at Premier. I was miserable because I had to walk all day and I couldn't imagine. I'm gonna sue you. I'm taking you to Judge Judy. Okay? So, it is prohibited. What does the word prohibited mean? Not, I've been doing this a long time. I know what I'm doing. I ain't never cut nobody. Well, never say never. You are prohibited and this is across the board. There's no nail tech that is legally allowed to cut any skin. And you see it all the time. Do not do it. If you do, I'm going to testify against you in court because they're going to pay me as an expert witness, and I'm going to accept so that I can be on TV. My hair going to be done. I'm going to have my and I'm going to say, I don't know this woman, but I will tell you this because I'm not going to claim you no more. She said she went to my school. I don't remember her. You know you're not supposed to be cutting on people. You want to be a surgical tech, you went to the wrong school. Okay? Don't risk it. Because it's going to be that one Karen or Karan, whatever her name is. She's going to take you to court. People they sue happy here. Now in Nigeria, take your chances. You can't sue nobody in Nigeria.
They take you to court and they lose, you get the money.
If they take you to court,
And they lose.
no, they don't do that. Which they should. I think they should. If somebody takes me to court and they lose because they lied, then I should get whatever you was gonna give them. That'll stop people from taking folks to court for no reason. I tell you that. That's all right. You can always counter sue. Now I'm gonna sue your ass.
What it mean?
You too. All of y'all. I'm gonna sue all y'all. Give me my money. All right. So do we now know what the cuticle is and what it ain't? And what the epinechium is and that you need to leave it alone?
The cuticle dead and the epithelium is.
That's right. That's right. Live. All right. Moving to the next part. This is the last part we're going to talk about. The hyponychium. So we talked about the epinichium. Now, I remember I told y'all I love medical terms. Epinichium, hyponychium. Yeah, they cousins. One lives on the top floor and one lives in the basement. Because the word hypo means what? You got hyper and hypo. If someone has hypertension, what do they have? High blood pressure, right? If they have hypotension, low blood pressure. So the epinichium. Anybody ever heard of an EpiPen? Those people who have are diabetes. If they are allergic to something, they got to carry them around. Why is it called an EpiPen? Well, because that big ass needle, it's a big needle too, y'all. You got to blam, shove it in their butt cheek or something. And this medicine comes out. And the reason they call it an EpiPen is because it needs to go through the epidermis, and it is the epi above the skin above. You put it underneath the skin to inject the medicine. So, epi is another word for above. All right, the top layer. So epinichium is on the top of the nail. The hyponychium is on the bottom of the nail. When we say the bottom, it is that little piece of skin. Some of y'all probably look at your nails and go, I can see mine. We all have one, okay? But some people can see theirs. We call those high hyponychiums. People who have high hyponychiums have beautiful nails. Usually they have really long nail beds that just go for miles. They don't have those little short, stubbed out nail beds. They have long, they're ideal for like doing like sculpted nails on. They have beautiful nails, but if you cut their nails too short, they will bleed. Sometimes I only have one nail that's like that, this pinky finger. I got a hyponychium that I can touch it. It's right there. And if you stick it with something, you will feel the pain, right? Some people's are really, you can't see them at all. But if you dig under, like when you're cleaning under your nail and you dig too deep, anybody ever done that? You're like, ooh, that hurt. You massaging that hyponychium, and that hyponychium has a purpose, okay? Think about the hyponychium as we all drive here, right? You know that if you wanted to lift the hood, which every time I go to get my oil changed, they'd be like, lift the hood. I'd be like, I am not a mechanic. I don't even know where that thing's at. But you know what I'm talking about, that little latch down there to open up your hood. Well, when you pop the hood, there's still another latch under there, right? They got to pull that little latch so that the hood will come up. Think of the hyponychium as that little latch. Without your hyponychium, your nails would just be flapping in the wind. It's like a little latch that keeps your nails down, stuck to the nail bed, okay? So that's another part of the nail you don't want to mess with too much. And you'll see folks taking a ball bit, and just grinding that part down, because it'll get, if you have one on your nails, you said, Anissa, you got it on your thumbs, right? Sometimes it gets a little dry. Yeah. Well, you need to moisturize it. Don't drill on it, okay? Don't drill on it. Moisturize it. I mean, you do what you want to your own nails, but I'm not taking no ball bit and drill bit and going up underneath someone's fingernails and filing down that dry skin, because it is living tissue. And the more you grade down skin, the more it wants to come back with a vengeance. This is why you will never see me use a cheese grater or any type of razor blade, first of all, because it's illegal, but you're making the calluses. These people are keeping themselves in business by doing that to you, because you think that they're doing the right thing, right, by taking all the skin off. Well, all they're doing is causing that skin to grow back with a vengeance. In 2 more weeks, because y'all really only should get pedicures once a month, and there is no such thing as pedicure season, y'all. It's all year round. We should be getting pedicures monthly, every month. Okay? Huh? No, because you're going to learn how to do your own. I don't do feet like that. I don't even like doing my own feet, but I do them. That skin gets hard, and then you end up having to go back, and you're like, oh, I can't wait for her to get that razor on my foot. Then the next week, you're ripping up your sheets. Got to go to Costco and get some more. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You know it's time for a pedicure when your feet start sticking to your sheets. You just said, yeah, girl, I know. I know. Gotta soak them things first. That lotion ain't going in there if you don't soak them. Okay? All right. So, the hyponychium is a protective barrier. It has the same purpose as the cuticle, basically. Seals down the nail plate to the nail bed. All right? Whereas the cuticle seals down the proximal nail fold to the nail plate. Y'all got that? I know that was a lot. It has a purpose. It's just like the cuticle. The hyponychium seals down the nail plate to the nail bed. And the cuticle, the cuticle does what? Seals down the what to the what?
The cuticle seals.
You know, think about it. Don't look at your notes. Don't look at your notes. Think about it. Thank you, Varnish.
The cuticle seals down on the
Think about it. The proximal nail fold. It seals that the cuticle seals down the proximal nail fold to the nail what? The nail plate. There you go. And both of them, the function of it is to keep stuff out from under it. Now, sometimes we cause our nails to have a certain disorder that is directly related to our hyponychium. And that is onycholysis. We'll get to that in a second. What is onycholysis? Well, that is when the nail bed and the nail plate get separated. You have probably had this happen to yourself because you were wearing extendo nails and you got in a fight with that girl down the street or whatever. And next thing you know, your nails got popped off, or maybe you was, beating your kids or whatever you was doing, when they was being bad, and your nail got pulled back. You know how that feels. It's like your soul is being snatched out when it gets pulled back, right? So, and this can happen over time when you are wearing nails that are too long for your lifestyle. I don't tell people that your nails, those nails are too long. Because listen, some people don't do a damn thing. They literally don't. The only thing they do is probably wipe their own butt carefully, very carefully. Okay. Other than that, they don't do dishes. They don't have kids. They don't do their hair. They go to the salon and get it done every week. They don't even brush it. Their nails might be this long and they have no problems. But if you are a construction worker, or if you got a bunch of kids running around and you do got a lot of stuff going on with your hands, you want to extend those nails because you saw it on the internet, everybody got them. Well, them might not be for you. And those are the clients that get them, and then they come back 2 weeks later and they got 4 broken nails and they want you to repair them for free. No, girl. And then their nails are all messed up. That's like lifted away, and you can see white. Like it looks like they got a free edge in the middle of their nail. Y'all ever seen that before? Go on, tell on yourself. It's all right. This is a safe place.
I didn't do it. I left that one there but it's not attached.
If it's not attached to the nail, at all, just hovering.
Yeah, that's not.
How on earth? And these be the ones that want you to put extra long nails on their nails. Mm-hmm. The best thing to do in that case is to trim all that off. And because it needs to heal back down to the nail place. Sometimes if you do this over and over and over and over again, it just never heals back down. Sometimes it will never heal back down, and now you got this ugly nail. We don't want to be the reason why our clients have to wear nails. Trust and believe, I can take these nails off and still have nice nails, because I have taken care of my nails my whole life.
But if you saw it trimmed off, is that in our scope practice?
You will absolutely want to sculpt a nail like that. You would not, because you can't glue a tip to a nail that's this big. But you would also want to make that nail very short until it heals and grows out. They just, and you're going to get the clients that are going to say, I want it. Well, if you want that, then you're going to have to go somewhere else. I make my clients, well, I was making my clients when I was doing nails long, full time. If they wanted anything longer than, about like this, if it was an extendo nail, they had to sign a waiver. Because that is unhealthy for your nails, and anything could happen where their entire nail be gone. It's unhealthy for the nail. It's unhealthy to have nails that long. These extendo nails, I'll be so glad when they die and they go away. Go away, because it's ruining y'all's fingernails. And it takes so long, and y'all not charging enough. If I did a nail this long, baby, this is gonna be your whole house payment. And if you don't like it, go on down the street and get them ugly nails you want. It's gonna be a house payment just for me to do them, not just to design them.
So after I get my license and I start doing nails, you'll type me away.
You better ask ChatGPT to make you one. You need to reset yours. She must don't like you. You know that if you're mean to it, it remembers that stuff. It has memory. Well, see, you need a separate one that's for nails, and then have one that you need ask crazy questions to. Listen, my ChatGPT is literally writing my book for me. Okay.
Oh no, I don't got my chat. I got my AI.
Get off of that. That ain't professional. No, ChatGPT and Gemini, like Google Gemini and stuff like that, that's professional stuff. Grade. I pay for mine. You don't have to, but I pay for them, because if you use it for the free version, it only lets you ask like 5 questions a day or something. I ask mine 5 questions before 10 a.m. So I pay for mine. But anyway, back to the nails. All right. So everybody know what the hyponychium is? Okay. Y'all look at this diagram now. Look at it. It'll be available for you guys to have to study, okay, in the curriculum. Now, there's a couple of parts on here that we didn't talk about that's not in my slides. That is the distal phalanx. Okay, what is the distal phalanx? What did I say distal meant? Distal. So that is the finger bone that is at the tip of your nail. Anybody ever? One of my students said she broke hers once. It was a weird feeling because it's not really attached to nothing. Like the tip of the nail, it was just kind of moving in there. Her finger got jammed. So distal phalanx, and it's PHALANX, or the fingertip bone. I will take that as an answer on your test. Fingertip bone or distal phalanx. You know, your bones in your hand are called the phalanges, and the phalanx is one of them, okay? Another one that we didn't talk about that is on here is the keratinized proximal nail fold. What does keratinized mean? If something is so we said keratin, our nails are made of keratin, which is a hard protein, right? Mm-hmm. Well, if something is keratinized, that means it has gotten harder, okay? So that skin everybody wants to cut all the time is usually keratinized proximal nail fold. It has gotten hard. And why has it gotten harder? And it's going to keep getting harder and keep getting harder. But in general, that area that right around the cuticle is always a little harder because it's the part of our nail that gets banged up the most. Right? You always knocking your cuticle area on something, especially if you're digging in your purse or, just life in general. Okay? So it's always a little harder around there. And so that's called the keratinoid. It's a very tiny little section of the proximal nail fold that's right the very edge of it. Okay? And then also the stratum corneum. The stratum corneum is just the skin. That's what the skin on your fingers is called, the stratum corneum. Okay? If you looked at that skin under a microscope, it literally looks like corn on the cob, like a corn cob. Like it's just like little grid lines. Okay? So the stratum corneum is the skin that's on your fingers. Okay? Now, where it says stem cells in the epinechium layer, that's just the epinechium, y'all. Okay? You don't have to write stem cells of the epinechium layer. You could write epinechium. Okay? Other than that, I think we covered everything on that diagram. That TV? Yeah, been there for a long time. I need to take it down, but I can't. I'm too weak. I used to sit over there, and then I had that little TV. Then we got, somebody made a payment in full, and we bought the whole TV. Girl, if I get all of y'all to do that, y'all wouldn't see me. I'll be down in Mexico getting the BBL. But, I don't mind the payments. Keeps me humble. I don't spend too much money. I swear, if all of y'all paid at one time, I'd be like, Shayla.
If I didn't get mine this round, I probably would pay.
Please, y'all don't pay in full. Cause then I blow it. I go and buy stuff. I don't do that. I like the payment. I like getting a weekly paycheck. All right, y'all ready? Cause now we're gonna get into y'all thought, was that hard? Okay, well, it's about to get a little harder. Hey, is that my bike? I'm like, they just crank up my bike and ride away. Hold on. All right, it's gonna get a little harder now, but I'm gonna make it real easy for you. All right. Well, first of all, we talked a little bit about the factors that make your nails grow, right? Well, one of those things was the matrix, the health of your matrix. Another thing that makes your nails grow a certain way is the way your matrix is shaped. Okay, everybody's matrix is not shaped the same way. So if a client has, anybody ever seen nails like these? Like seeing a person that has like an acorn nail or a angular nail, like they fan out like this when they grow, like weird looking nails. Huh? Well, guess what? Those are the people that's gonna sit in your chair because they got ugly nails and they want you to fix them. So get used to it. You're gonna see these. You're gonna see these nails. Y'all, these slides are gonna be in your. She taking pictures. You put me on my good side. So, your matrix is the reason why your nail is shaped that way. Okay, so you can't fix the matrix. Remember, we don't bother it, so there's nothing you can really do about it. So don't go telling your client, I'm a miracle worker. I can make your natural nails look a certain way. You really can't. Okay, all we can do is put something on them to cover that up. All right. Now we talked about nutrition, exercise, general health. I'm glad my nails don't reflect my general health. I need to go to. Matter of fact, they called me yesterday. I was supposed to meet that man at the gym yesterday. He was like, "You signed up?" Because that new gym opened up, Crunch. Listen, I haven't even been yet. I signed up before it opened. So the little trainer guy called me. He was like, "Hey, you get a free training session with me." And I was like, "Okay, schedule it." And I was like, "I ain't even going to that now." He called me yesterday. "Where you at?" I was like, "I'm still at work. I'm sorry." So yeah. Nail plate malformation. Again, what can cause nail plate malformation is damage to the matrix. Okay? Everything pertains to the matrix. All right? Again, that's why it's so important not to mess with it. Now, when you see things like this, which these are nail grooves. All right? This generally happens when you get older. Right? This is normal for the aging process. But what's happening is the cells start to slow down, like the growth plate of the growth of the nail slows down for whatever reason. Let's just say you got sick for a while, like COVID or something. Well, your immune system or your body is not healthy at the moment. So you may, after you get well, notice that you've got nail grooves because your growth slowed down and then it sped up and then it slowed down, and one day you felt good, one day you felt bad, or whatever the case may be. But that is why you will see changes in your nail plate. Okay, so just so you guys know, a fingernail takes, if you damage it or complete replacement of it, it could take anywhere from 4 to 6 months to fully grow out. Okay, 4 to 6 months. Now, a toenail, on the other hand, thank y'all. A toenail can take anywhere from 9 months to a year. And if you're older, it could take 2 years. Okay, sometimes I've heard people where it took 3 years to grow back completely. It just depends on your health, your wellness, your age. So for the toe, anywhere 9 months to a year for a healthy person, 9 months to a year. But I've seen people go as long as 2. I personally have seen. Okay.
I've lost 2 fingernails, 1 big toe, and 2 pinky toes.
Girl, how? Not the pinky toe.
So I for context, I don't really like to wear shoes in the house. It's always barefoot
Thank you.
or socks. So like I usually drop the microwave plate on my big toe.
Oh God, that's painful.
I hit the corner of the door. Right behind
You got one of them just rogue pinky toes, don't you? You can't. It just goes where it wants to go.
Both of them is rough. And then when I was 13, my mom got my first acrylics, and I slammed my fingers in the door, so both of these fell off. And
How old were you?
13.
And see, that's why I don't do nails on little kids. I don't want to see your 15-year-old in my seat asking for no long ass nails. Now, I will do a kid's nails, okay? I'll do a kid's nails, but you gonna get a reasonable length. I mean, you see Alexis's nails, you might get that. She does her own nails, by the way. Ain't they cute? Were those your birthday nails?
Yeah.
They were cute. I saw them on her Snapchat. Y'all, if you don't want me to judge you, don't add me to your social media, because I judge you.
Look, I be seeing you popping up.
Look, I'll add you, but I'm going to judge you. Don't you lie to me. I saw you in the club last weekend twerking on that pole. Come in here acting like you shy, Emily. I saw you. You can add me. I'll be your friend. But I'm going to judge you now. I'm just telling you, I am not a phony person, okay? I'm going to tell you to your face. Yeah, girl, I saw you. Mm-hmm. I might pull up, too. Don't judge me from when I'm outside. I'm the same all the time, though. I ain't going to lie to y'all. I'm the same everywhere. All right. Moving right along. Y'all got that part? Now, let's talk about these unhealthy conditions. Y'all see that? That is onycholysis. That is where the hyponychium has been completely just lifted away and the nail plate and the nail bed are no longer attached. And no, on your test, your final exam. Oh, state board? All of this stuff gonna be there. All of this stuff. It won't be the exact slides, but all this information that I'm telling. The slides is just me, so I'll remember what to teach y'all. I got this stuff memorized anyway. I know all this stuff. I done taught this 500 times. All right, so we talked about scope of practice, right? What you're legally allowed to do. But one thing about it, you guys are also not allowed to diagnose. You are not allowed to treat or prescribe. Oh, yes, honey. I don't know how long y'all been following me, but there was a whole debacle between me and these, I don't remember the boy's name. They said they had a miracle cuticle oil that would cure cancer. No, they didn't say cure cancer, but that's what I told them. I said, you act like you telling people your cuticle oil going raise the dead. It's got all this stuff in it. You can't even do that legally. You're making it sound like this is a medical cuticle oil, right? And was selling that stuff like hotcakes. And people were, on their lives saying like, well, my mom had cancer and her nails turned this certain color. Will this help? He's like, yes. I'm like, you're a liar. You're a liar. Anyhow, you are not legally allowed to diagnose, treat, or prescribe. Now, you can recommend that they go see a doctor. You can recommend that they use cuticle oil. You can recommend that they drink more water, but please don't tell somebody they got onychomycosis and you ain't a bit of a doctor, you ain't done no tests, you don't know none of that, okay? Now, the purpose of learning this information is not so you can point it out and tell somebody they have it or they don't, okay? It's for you to A, pass your state board, and B, be able to protect yourself, okay? So, it is not a problem for you to tell a client straight up, I can't do that. And in order for me, until I will do it if you get a doctor's note that says you don't have anything going on. Like it's okay for me to work on your nails. Okay? Now, your job asks you for a doctor's note when you called out last week. It's not a problem for you to ask for one if they look like they got something that's abnormal. Because a lot of things look abnormal, but they're really just hereditary. Okay? So, let's get to it. Nail disorders are not always diseases, but a nail disorder can be caused by a disease. Does that make sense? You could have had a diseased nail, like a fungus, and now it's gone, but it caused you to have a nail disorder that made your nail lift away from the nail plate. You see what I'm saying? So some of these disorders you can work on because they're not sick anymore, or there's nothing present. Okay, we'll talk about which ones you can and which ones you cannot, what you can do and what you cannot do. Okay, now find a nice way, ask ChatGPT, to tell your clients that you can't work on them. See, me, I don't really have a filter. I don't know what those are. I don't even use them on the internet. What you see is what you get, baby. Okay? We're not putting up. I be like, girl, now what did you do? Now I'm not about to do that. Nope, I'm not doing it. That looks, that's suspect. You need to go see a doctor now. Now, you may not know but I know my clients, all my clients. I've got a client that I've been seeing since I was in high school. I got a picture of my yearbook with her doing her nails in cosmetology class, and I still do her nails to this day. That is 30 years. Okay? So, I know my people, and they know me, and they like, if they get their nails done by me, they like me. No, well, I've had some that didn't like me, but they didn't say nothing. They just sat there and got them nails done. And that's all fine, well, and good, too. I got your money, honey. All right? Now, there's no gray area with me. It's black or it's white. You either love it or you don't. Hopefully, you guys found me. You found me this way, right? You got what you asked for. Okay, because I didn't change. All right. Now, find a way to professionally tell them that sorry, I'm not allowed to do it, like my student did, and then they're going to cuss you out and say, get the manager. And the manager can catch their fungus if they want to. I'm not doing it. You have the right to refuse service, okay? Now, you can, however, if it's not a diseased nail, improve the appearance, which is the only thing that you're allowed to do anyway. Now, we have a few more slides, and these slides are pictures of these disorders and diseases. It's going to overwhelm you a little bit, but I promise you're going to learn it, okay? Today. You're going to learn today. All right. The first one we're going to talk about, Bowes lines. What is Bowes lines? Now, you may have seen this on your own nails before. And it was caused by a trauma. Maybe, have you ever hit your hand on something and you had nails on? The nail didn't break, but you felt like it was wiggling or something in there. Like it's like, ooh, it feels like it's broke, but I'm looking at it, it's not broken. Then you take your nail off and you got a split from one side to the other, right? Well, that is called Bowes lines, right? You have probably seen this before on yourself or maybe even a client. From one sidewall to the other, not down the middle, but sidewall to sidewall. Now, I told you I was going to tell you which nails you can work on and which ones you can't. Well, in this case, all right, this can also happen because a client was sick and their nail was weak for a little while and then it broke there and then they were not sick anymore and it was stronger in one place but it was weak in another and it broke, right? But in this case, when a client presents with a crack from left to right, can you put something on that? What can you do and what can't you do? What do you guys think?
I'm curious if
It just happened to you. What'd you do? See, now I'm curious. She put a nail on there because that lady said, I'm going to pay you. She did it. Well.
I think you're allowed to do like maybe gel polish.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. What y'all think?
I mean, honestly, I feel like it depends on how severe it is. Like my roommate, I took her nails off. She had a break, and I was like, "Girl, I can't put none on top of that. I might be in a tea bag and glue and let it, do what it do." But that was it.
Okay. So here's the thing, and I don't know, where's my little sign? I think it's in my office. There is a sign that you have to post in your salon that is a law, a state board law, that says, it says 3 things, okay? I can't remember the other 2, but I can remember this one. It says, by law, you are only allowed to work on healthy, intact nails. No blood, no open wounds, nothing that is still in the healing process, okay, by law. And it's a sign that is posted in your salon for the clients to see, because when they start doing stuff like, well, girl, I'll pay you, I just be like, I'm sorry, I could lose my license. Now, in this case, let me tell y'all a little story. I had a client who had that happen. And her nail was completely healed, okay? It was just still cracked. Because remember, it takes 4 to 6 months for that nail to grow all the way out. And hers was cracked right slap down in the middle, from side to side. But it was healed. It wasn't bleeding. It wasn't sore. It wasn't any of that. So I told her, I said, I don't feel comfortable putting acrylic on it, but they got this new thing called Gel-X. I'll put that on there. It's just a press-on. So I did, and they looked great. She felt fine. 2 days later, she called me. She said, Mary, my finger is on fire. It is throbbing, and I can feel my pulse in it. And I was like, oh, girl, come down. Let me check it. So, to get Gel-X off, you got to file everything off, and then you would soak whatever's left or whatever. So I go to filing it, get past the polish, and as soon as I got to the layer that was close to her nail, pus just poured out. I mean, squirted. And she was like, oh, God, thank you. That's what she felt, this throbbing pain, because an infection had, you can't clean that area well enough to be 100% sure that there's not a germ or something that can cause an infection in there. And you just sealed it down and closed it with no air, no nothing. It's just festering under there. Thank God, again, I've got clients I've had for years. I was like, I am so sorry. She was like, it ain't your fault. I said, absolutely is my fault. I shouldn't have done nothing to it. She was like, it'll be all right. Don't worry. Just give me a 9-finger discount. And just left that nail off. Now, what you can do with a nail like that is probably use regular lacquer on it, because regular lacquer, it would crack right there in that area and it would be able to still have air. But if it was gel polish, once you seal it down, it's sealed. I've seen people get greenies on all 10 fingers with regular gel manicure, because their nail, you guys really shouldn't be doing wet manicures on people who are about to get gel polish. It's not, you want to make sure that nail is completely dried out Okay, but we'll talk about that when we get to gel. All right. So I would say when a nail is not intact, fully intact, do not do anything to it because you can cause a problem. She just ended up, as soon as she felt better, I was like, girl, I can't even soak that off. She was like, don't worry about it. I'm going to trim it down low and let it heal. And as soon as it heals, I'll get it off, right? We'll just wait. She was good about it. But she could have said, I'm going to the emergency room and you're going to pay that bill. I paid emergency room bills before. It was because I cut somebody's finger almost off with an E-file bit that I shouldn't have been using. We'll get to that story one day too. Okay. Now, the next one, bruised nail bed. A bruised nail bed. Now, in this case, if you see that one on the right, that client still has an open wound there. It looks like it's still kind of bleeding a little bit. Looks like they smashed their finger on something, right? So what is happening in this? What do you see happening? So there's blood trapped underneath the nail bed, okay? Oh, excuse me, the nail plate. And so that means if there's blood trapped underneath the nail plate, then there's separation going on between the nail plate and the nail bed, right? So whenever there's separation of those two things, you don't have a foundation for that nail. It could at any moment, if you put something on, let's just say, okay, let's think that maybe they came to us a few days later, it's no longer hurting, it's not bleeding anymore, and you say, okay, well, I'm gonna put some nails on there for you. Well, if there's separation from the nail plate and the nail bed, what happens if she just hits her nail on something? It could pop off with just the slightest knock on the table, okay? Because there's no foundation, all right? So this nail is going to fall off anyway. Look at it. Once it grows to the point where that purple is grown out past the free edge, you'll be able to stick stuff under there and all kinds of stuff. And the best thing to do in that case is to cut that nail completely off and just let it grow. Like, it would be a full nail replacement. Now, what you could do is cover it with regular polish or even a gel polish, just a manicure, no extension on that nail because there's no foundation there, but absolutely nothing to extend on that nail. Now, again, and I've said this many times and you'll hear me say it a lot. When you're here, you guys are like my children, right? And when you have kids, they got a bedtime. They got to do what you tell them to do, right? All that stuff. When you leave here, you can stay out till 4 a.m. all you want to. But when you're here, you got to be in the house by 9, right? So you guys do whatever you want. You're going to do what you want when you leave here. Just remember that your foundations, okay? There are always exceptions to everything, okay? But if you feel like it could risk your license, just don't do it. Just don't do it, okay? Hear those words coming out, from that I'm saying in your head. Just don't do it. Don't do it, girl. It ain't worth it, okay? Don't be that sound on TikTok. Don't do it, girl. I did it. I told you not to do it, okay? All right, the next one, eggshell nails. Now, we've probably all seen this before. Those really thin nails that they're just flexible. A lot of times when you take your nails off, if you've been going to the wrong place or if you've been popping your nails off, your nails will look like that. They will be thin and they will be really, sometimes this happens from, not taking care of your nails, but it can also be hereditary. Some people's nails are just like that, okay? What can you work on that? Absolutely. However, when a client's nails are so thin from you just filing and drilling on them for just being way too aggressive, it's really not good to put long nails on them, long ones, because again, no foundation. You need to have something to lay the nail acrylic on. Now, discolored nails, that could be simply because you colored your hair purple last week, okay? Because your nails are very porous and they absorb color and everything. They absorb everything. Listen, y'all doing nails, when your client smokes cigarettes. You know when they smoke anything. You can smell it as soon as you go to e-filing. You can tell if they a dirty girl. And you know what I mean, ladies. You can tell. Everything absorbs in the nail, in that acrylic. Now, gel, not so much. That's why I love gel nails. But Discolored nail can also be a disorder, right? Anybody know anyone that is anemic? Or they say, I got low blood. The old folks say, I got low blood. But that just means that your blood is not, or maybe they have diabetes and their hands are always cold, right? It could just mean that their blood is not pumping to their extremities, right? And they'll have like blue fingers, blue hands, or cold hands, cold feet. That's, can cause your fingernails to be blue or purple or whatever, okay? Hopefully your client knows this about themselves and you're just not like, what happened to your nails? Why are your nails blue? Right? They'll let you know, which you should be doing a consultation with your client, shouldn't you? People shouldn't just sit down at your chair, and we know this happens in nail salons all the time. People just sit in the chair. You don't know nothing about them. You just ask them, you got a boyfriend? You work today? How about boyfriend pay for your nails? Okay. It's more to consultations than that. You should be asking your clients, don't get all up in their business, You got to ask them when their last menstrual cycle was. But you can ask them if they have any medical conditions that you would need to know about. And they'll lie to you, but at least you asked. A lot of these things can be put on your booking sites so that you don't even have to ask them in their face. You absolutely should. Well, don't even do a booklet. Just keep, if you got like a booking site like Acuity or something like that, or Booksy or any of these booking sites, those questionnaires are on there and it's saved. It's saved. As long as they make an account, it's saved. You should have all your clients create an account so it's not like a guest account. So that way you can keep track of how much they've paid and all that stuff, their appointments. Yeah, I don't do no paper, nothing. I hate paper. I hate it. All right, so the last one, hangnail. We know what a hangnail is, right? That's that cuticle that has been snatched all the way down to the epithelium. It feels like your soul been ripped out when you got a hangnail. You peel it, it feels like you unzipped your whole body, right? So we just trim those a little bit. That obviously, as long as it's not bleeding, you can work on the client. We don't work on anything that is actively bleeding, okay? And if you cause the bleeding, now why did you do that? There's absolutely no reason on God's nail earth that you should be doing anything to your clients that cause them to bleed. We have drill bits now that are safety bits that you shouldn't be cutting them. If you're using bits that could possibly cut the client, hopefully you have a lot of experience and training in it, okay? I don't even use them. I've been doing nails for 30 plus years, all right?
What's that stuff they use, though, like when they do cut somebody?
That green stuff?
Yeah.
The septic stuff? Yeah, they shouldn't even be using that. Hello.
Hi. I just was wondering, when do you all do, like, the time when you do other people's nails?
We do it after 1 o'clock, but we don't have anybody today that would be able to do it.
Just wondering.
Yeah.
1 o'clock every day, most
Fridays are the best day because we have more students in. But will you grab one of those cards right there? And that way you can book an appointment online. And that way, if you have, yep. You have a good one. Thank you. Because one person graduating and the other one, she would die if I gave her a client right now. She'd be like, Miss Mary, why? You do it. Plus, I got to leave at 3.
Oh, yeah.
I got my AC checked at my house. Anyhow. In fact, they shouldn't be using that. Because when a client starts bleeding, you're not supposed to even be working on the client. They'll put that stuff on you and then keep on working. Yeah. And my question is, how many times have you dabbed that stuff on somebody else's bloody finger? Yeah. That stuff burns too. Ooh, it burns. It burns. Don't use that. And if they're using it, about to use it on you, politely decline and just go. Okay, because they don't use it on somebody else. All right, infected finger. Anytime you see something that is red, pussy, spell that. You know why? You know why I said that? Because when I was an EMT, we were not allowed to use the word pussy because the word is purulent. That means pus is coming out of it because you can't spell pussy, not without making people giggle. Anyway, so if it's has pus coming out of it, okay, if it's red, inflamed, swollen, they feel like their heart is beating in it, you shouldn't be working on it. And guess how this client more than likely got this infected finger? Messing around back there and the place ain't got no business. And they probably shoved a dirty e-file bit that hasn't been cleaned ever in life. They probably shoved a dirty cuticle pusher all the way back to their soul and implanted a nasty. And that's why they got that. Okay. Now, I had a student, as soon as she got to school, did this to herself and had to go to the emergency room. They cut her finger open so far back that her finger looked like a hot dog been on the stove a little too long. You know when it busts open like that? You know what I'm talking about? That's when you know they're good done. But imagine, she was like, Miss Mary, I wish I had this chapter before I went. I said, who told you to be? She was cutting, trimming, and doing all that stuff. And she ended up with, the whole time she was in school, she didn't wear a nail on that finger. She couldn't. So you can do this to yourself. Don't do it. All right. No infected fingers. We don't mess with that. I wouldn't even touch it. Okay. Not even to put anything on it. Okay. Because it's the skin that's affected, but you dealing with that. Okay. Now, the next one, that one all the way on the right, Leukonychia. Okay. What do you hear? Because again, this is one of those ones. The first couple ones were easy, right? Leukonychia. The word leuco. You ever heard of anything else that has that word in it? Leukemia, leukocytes. Yep. Are you in the medical field? Okay, so leuko, that is the medical word for white. Okay, so leukemia, that is a cancer, right? It's a cancer of what though? The white blood cells, because we got red ones and white ones. So we need our white ones because those are the ones that keep our immune system good, right? So when people get leukemia, they get sick really easily. Anyhow, leukonychia, anytime you hear the word onychia at the end of something, it means there's an infection or a disease, okay? So leukonychia is basically a disorder of the nails that causes white spots on the nails. Okay, it'll cause white spots or white areas of the nails. Okay, so sometimes it can indicate disease, but sometimes it can be from a trauma. All right, have you ever seen white spots on your nails? Like little tiny white spots? Well, you know why they got there? You probably didn't even realize that you did it because you did it 6 months ago, right? You had a micro trauma to your matrix. It could have been something as simple as people who like click pens a lot or do type a lot and stuff like that. They will end up with little white spots on their nails because they're putting pressure on their matrix. Think about when you push your finger, where do you feel the pressure? Your finger, if you've got a long nail on, if you got a long nail on right now, push it. And where are you feeling most of the pressure? It's going to be back in the back of your nail. So people who do repetitive motion, or people who have nervous tics and they click in, or you might even just accidentally hit your finger on the desk, and 6 months later you're like, this little white spot is here. It's a little trauma to your micro trauma to your nails, and it will grow out usually. Okay, but that's what it is. Okay, little white spot. Leukonychia. Now, on the other side of this, we've got what's known as melanonychia. What are you hearing there? Melatonin? That's what you took this morning. That's what you took this morning. That's what you over there yawning. But melanin is the word I'm looking for. What is melanin, my melanated queens? You a melanated queen too, you know that? Because people love to say white people ain't melanated. Yes, they are. They got melanin. You know the only people that ain't got melanin? Albinos. They're the only people that don't have melanin. White people are melanated queens too. Okay? I tell my mom, I mess with her all the time, like, you melanated queen. She's so white. She'd be like, leave me alone. Anyway, so melanonychia is significant darkening in the fingernails, all right? This person, I'm assuming, is a Caucasian, okay, by the looks of her fingers, right? Do you see that black band running down her finger? See, I'm pointing right at it. That on a white person could be a problem, okay? It could be cancerous, okay? On a person of color, it could be normal. It happens on people of color all the time, and they've had it their whole life, okay? The question you need to ask your client, especially if it's someone that you just met, is how long have you had this here, right? Especially on a person of that is white, okay, white. If they are, again, just ask them how long they've had it, because if it's new, it could be something they need to see a doctor about. Okay, it's gonna always be a long strip like that because your nails grow in that direction. If it's going this way, it's probably a trauma that happened to the nail and it's just bruised or something. It's more than likely never going to do anything but straight up the nail, okay? But again, this is normal on some people. They'll be like, oh, I had that my whole life. You'll be surprised as a nail tech, you are gonna be the person who keeps up with people's foot health. How many times have you looked at the bottom of your feet today? Well, imagine being, 60 or 50 or, because hell, I don't like lifting my foot up either to look at it. Right, and that's about it. So, when you as a nail tech, you might notice that a client has a mole that you never saw before on the bottom of their foot. And it could be something you like, Miss Jones, you got a little black spot on the bottom of your foot. I ain't never seen that before. Is that normal? Have you, and they go to a doctor, find out they got skin cancer or something. Okay, so being able to recognize these things not only help you, but also could help your client. Okay, we got a couple more slides, y'all, and then we're done. Nail psoriasis. What's psoriasis, y'all? Psoriasis. It is a skin condition, yep. A lot of times people will have, like dandruff is a form of psoriasis, dry, flaky skin, right? Well, when we have it on our nails, it is dry, flaky nails, okay? So it will present as rough, dry nail plates. They might look like they've already etched their nails with a buffer or a e-file or something. And it's like, did you get your nails done before you came? Did you prep your nails before you came? You said, save me a little bit of work. This is not contagious. Psoriasis is not contagious, okay? However, it does leave flakes everywhere. You ever, known somebody who has psoriasis. But it's not contagious, so you could work on the client. I mean, it might even make it easier for you to do your nails. It's dry and you don't have to worry about dehydrator and stuff. But you could work on this client's nails, and obviously they would want you to put something on them, right? Now, this next one, that looks awful, don't it? I had a lady when I was in nail school, and to this day, now that I'm a nail school owner, I look back at some of the things that they made me do in nail school that I was like, wow, I really, really wish I was y'all back then. Had a teacher that would told me, no, don't do that. Anyway, nail pterygium. Nail pterygium is abnormal stretching of the hyponychium or the epinechium. And when you guys if you ever do a little research on this, you'll see that pterygium can happen anywhere. It can happen in your eyes, it can happen on your mouth, it can happen on your skin. But this just happens to be affecting the nail. Now, it splits like that because of the stretching of the epinechium. Now, again, I'm no doctor or anything. I can't tell you the exact reason why this happens, but it happens to people. If you have a client that presents with something like this, please don't do anything other than, paint one side black and the other side white or something like that with regular polish. That's all you can, girl. I can't do nothing with that. When I was in nail school, I had a client who had a thumb like that. And when you'll notice people that usually come to the nail schools, no shade to the lady right there that just showed up, but people who come to the nail schools generally are, unless they're one of your family members just trying to like, you know, help you out and they want to let you play on them, they usually cheat. I mean, let's be honest. They like, oh, I can go to the nail school and get a pedicure for $10. Well, you're going to get a $10 pedicure too now. Don't think you're going to get an $80 pedicure in here. But with that being said, it was a sweet little old lady that used to come to me every week and get a manicure. And her thumb was split like that. She had that same issue. And one day she said, because I used to always just do a 9-finger manicure on her. Like I didn't do anything to that nail. And she was like, I think I've seen what you can do. I think you can put some acrylic on that for me, just like make it look normal. I was like, you know what? I think I can. And I did. And the very next day, she came back. The whole nail was gone. It had snatched out because it snagged on stuff. And then she said, I just accidentally hit it on something. The whole nail came off. And I learned my lesson that day. You do not work. And my teacher was like, go ahead. We do not work on unhealthy, unintact nails. That nail is obviously not intact. It is untacked. Okay? So, everybody. Abnormal stretching of the hyponychium or the epinechium. Okay? Because it could have been in reverse. It could have been splitting from the front to the back. Okay? A couple more. Well, usually they will give them some type of topical cream for the skin on the area, but it is never going to fix that nail. That nail is forever like that. Yeah, that's a permanent. Yeah, it's bad luck. You just got it. Yeah, you just bad genes. All right, we got 4 more slides, y'all. Okay, now these are the hard ones. Okay. But I promise you, I'm going to make it easy. This first one, onychophagy. That's how it's pronounced, okay? Now, when you look at that word, onychophagy, what do you see right smack dab? What word do you see right in the middle? Chop. This disorder is the literal name for a nail biter, person who bites their nails, bitten nails. So, if you see that word, you may not know how to pronounce it, and you ain't gonna have no picture to match it to, but when you see it, what are you gonna think of? Chomping them nails. Chop, 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 chop. Every time, even when I have to, because like the other day, I was in the middle of nowhere, and my nail it broke, like, and it was just hanging there, and I was like, ugh. And I was like, ew. Because you just don't know what all that stuff is under there. I just can't. I don't know how people keep their hands in their mouth. I don't even like licking my fingers when I'm eating. I just don't. Anyway. But that is a disorder. You know, when people have onychophagy, it's usually a nervous disorder or something. Okay? Nervous disorder, nervous tics, and a lot of times they just anxiety or whatever. They just bored or hungry. I don't know. But this isn't even a bad example of onychophagy. I have seen people that once they finish with the nail, they go eating the skin too. Just all around. Their nails are awful. But I tell you what, if you get a nail biter and you turn them from a nail biter to growing their nails, they will never leave you. They will never leave you. It's because of you. You are a miracle worker. In their eyes, you're a miracle worker. All right, the next one. Onychocryptosis is how you pronounce that. Onychocryptosis. Notice that oni in every word, pretty much. When you start seeing that word oni, you know it has something to do with the nail. Now, what do you see in this word? Now, let's change one of those R's to an E. Chore, very good. Somebody said yesterday, core, and I was like, said.
But I mean, can you be mad at enough?
She was loud and wrong. I love it when people are loud and wrong. They be so confident. Just so confident with your wrong answer. But chore, okay? So what I want you guys to think about when you think about onychorexis, because you will see on your state board, they're going to give you 4 different, they're going to say onychorexis is blah, and there'll be 4 different answers. What I want you to look for, the main thing, is this is going to be, onychorexis is the nail gets brittle and dry due to exposure to harsh cleaning agents. So when you do your chores, hopefully you're using a little bit of soap. Y'all ever, when you were cleaning, didn't use gloves and your hands just felt super dry, like super, even when you do dishes and you got all that dish soap on your hands dry out, right? So this happens a lot with people who work with a lot of cleaning agents, dishwashers, things like that, okay? So, onychorexis, chores, harsh cleaning agents, okay? Got that one? The next one's kind of easy. Pincer nail or trumpet nail. That's when the nail literally curves to the point where you'll see pictures of it on the internet where it looks like a straw. The nail will even fold over itself. Clients who have this issue are usually older. Your nails will when you get old, might get like that. It's just your nails change over as you get older. Now, pinch, or trumpet. A trumpet has an open hole in it or whatever. So just think of a circular shape. Okay, pincer nail or trumpet nail. These clients tend to get ingrown toenails very easily. It can cause that. It's very painful. Okay. Now, the next one, a plicatured nail. That looks painful, don't it? That is literally a folded nail. The nail grows that way, like it's got a fold in it. And see how it's cutting into the client's finger right there? Oh, y'all can't see it. Hold on, let me move my head. Oops, wrong one. Oops, wrong one. There we go. See it? So it's folded in there and it causes, it's almost like an ingrown, but it grows like that all the time. Like you couldn't, if you cut that out, it would just still grow back like that. Okay. So that's an unfortunate disorder. That looks painful. They probably keep that nail very short most of the time. Yes.
Because this reminds me of the video I saw. So across the water are folks over there.
Folks over there.
I see them doing nails that have had things like this, and they put like squares with a band.
Okay, so there's what's called, and I'm actually, that's so funny you mentioned it yesterday. One of my friends, she's giving a course for the BS brace. It's a brace, okay? It's a brace that is really, really, really stiff. It's a hard plastic, right? You can barely bend it. When you put it on a toe, usually we put them on toenails, but I guess you could put it on a finger if the finger was big enough. But put it on the toenail and you glue it with UV gel, right? You glue it down with UV gel, and it forces the nail from being curved like this to pulling up because the brace is really, really strong. It wants to be straight, but you forced it down on a nail that's curved. So as the nail grows, it's like almost like braces. You know how your teeth are crooked and then you put these things on it, it's forcing them to grow straight. So that's the same thing. Now, you have to be certified to use those. You can't just anybody, you can get anything illegally on the internet, but technically you take a course on how to put those on people, and you can charge for one of those braces literally like $100, and it stays on the nail until it grows out. Sometimes you may have to replace it because it's grown out or it's popped up, but insurance will pay for those. So that's one of those things. As a medical nail tech, you can start working for doctor's offices or have your own clinic or whatever that you do this stuff in, and insurance will pay for it because that's a medical condition. Yeah. We talked about ridge nails already, right? Now, what about this one, the splinter hemorrhage? You ever looked at your nail after you took them off and it had a little black line in it? You're like, what the heck is that? Do I have a splinter in my nail? Anybody ever had that? Remember I said your nails grow? It's straight out, right? So when you injure your nail, like a micro trauma, a lot of times that happens when you're like biting your acrylic off, and you ever done it, and because we don't bite our nails off, do we? But when you start trying to bite it off and you're like, oh, I felt a pinch, like a pain, and then you take your nail off and you got this little line in it, you caused a micro trauma that burst the capillaries, the blood cells, and that bed epithelium. You burst those little blood cells and you caused a little black line. It looks like a little black or red line, but it looks like a splinter inside your nail. It's called a splinter hemorrhage. Okay, what does it mean to hemorrhage? To bleed. To bleed. All right. A couple more, y'all. Now this one, Onycholysis. I said this this is everybody's favorite one. I think it's because of the way I help y'all remember it. I mentioned it earlier, but I was like, don't worry about it. I'll tell you later, right? So onycholysis is separation of the nail plate from the nail bed. Remember I said when your nails are too long and now you pulled it, you bent your nail back and it feels like it literally came up from the nail bed, okay? Now in this case, the client has a bruised nail, like they injured it, and as soon as that grows out a little bit, it's going to be a white spot because all that blood will get cleaned out as they shower. Right now, it's still connected.
My toenail,
Won't you kick? Yeah. You had acrylic on it too, didn't you? See, that's what you get. Listen, I have an alternative to that, okay? We don't put acrylic on toes. Acrylic is not flexible. See, if you would have had gel on your toes, gel is flexible. It's like a plastic, like a soft plastic.
So like jelly.
You could. I mean, you could put Gel-X on there, yes, but not long.
They're not long.
Okay, but there is, if you broke your nail, like say you broke it all the way down, there's a special gel that is meant for on the skin, to put on the skin. It's a medical grade gel that you can put on there, and it's flexible. So if you were to kick something, or when we're walking in our shoes every day, all day long, what are your toenails doing? They're hitting up against that repetitively. So you can cause onycholysis on yourself by wearing long toenails. You shoving, I saw, y'all, I don't know if y'all been down my Instagram and saw all my reaction videos. I saw a lady, she put rubber bands around her toes. She had extra long rubber bands so that she could put them in her shoes. And I promise you, if she took those acrylic toenails off, every one of her toenails is gone. Probably lifted completely away, because if you're pushing pressure in your shoe all day long, you're forcing the nail to be pressed and pushed up against it. It's going to pop up away from the nail bed. They were really long. She had all 5 of them. She had her toes jammed up like this with rubber bands around them so she could go. And I think she was putting them in workout shoes. I was like, I was like, this girl about to go work out. Where is she going? It was awful. But anyway, how are you going to remember separation of the nail bed and the nail plate with a word that looks like this? Well, I don't see any bed or plate or anything I can help me remember it. So we came up with this one, okay? So I see in there, or hear in there, the word lie and cis, okay? So I don't know about you, but if my man lies to me, he gonna have to go lay on the couch. He ain't sleeping in my bed. So we said, he lied to you, sis. You're gonna have to put his ass out the bed. So separation of your man from your bed, because he lied, okay? Onycholysis, separation of the bed from the plate. You are the plate. He is on the couch, not in your bed. You see what I'm saying? We're going to remember that, okay? Onycholysis. Y'all got that one? Easy, right? Now, the next one is super easy, too, even though it's a big, ugly word, but that's a big, ugly toe. Onychocryptosis. Okay. Crippled. I can't walk because I have an ingrown in my toe. Onychocryptosis. Okay. So a crippled toe. It is the actual medical term for an ingrown toenail. Again, you are not going to say these words ever again when you leave here. I mean, you're going to say maybe on the state board, but I mean, you're not going to be going to your clients and say, you got onychocryptosis.
They're going to be like, what?
Am I going to die? Is there a cure? Okay.
I'm going to do it. I might just talk like
Yeah, just do it. Just mess them up.
She might know what she's talking
She might. She might be a fraud. Anyway, so onychocryptosis, super long, ugly word for ingrown toenail. Okay? Y'all got that one? All right, 2 more slides and we're done. Now this one is very similar to onycholysis, all right? But there's a little difference, okay? Onychomadesis, there you see. Medea. Now, who is Medea? Well, bless his little heart. He about to get be $20 million poor. He done got caught up in Me Too.
But he
Tyler Perry. Yeah, he got it.
that's probably going to barely put it in.
Yeah. Well, I think it was $220 million the guy suing him for. Anyhow. Onychomadesis. But other than that, he's Tyler Perry, but he plays Medea. Now, that's not Medea's name. That's not her real name, is it? What's her real name, the real Medea fans? Mabel Simmons, okay? Mabel Simmons. Why do they call her Medea? Because if you are from the South, you will know the answer to this.
Nickname. Ain't it, right?
No. It's deeper than that. So, Medea is the country way of saying my dear, and you would call your granny your Medea. Medea. I'm talking about real country, like out in Girard County country, okay? You Burke County. I got a friend who she got a auntie named Maygale. They call her Maygale. I thought when I was like, I texted her, I was like, how's Maygale doing? I spelled it out, Maygale. She was like, her name is Mary Gale. But they just keep Mary Gale, 2 separate names, but they so country out there, they call her Maygale. So Medea is, what is she though? She's an old person, right? She don't act it, but she does, but she's an old person. So a Medea is an older person. So the difference in the two of onycholysis and onychomadesis is it is also separation of the nail plate and the nail bed. But the difference in onychomadesis is it falls off. The nail bed falls off. What do old people do?
Fall down.
Period. Falling in, I can't get up. So when you see onychomadesis, Medea, old people fall, the nail is going to separate from the nail plate and the nail bed, and it is going to fall off. Okay? That is the disorder. It eventually falls off.
You said fall down, put nails fall down.
Well, you'll remember it. You will remember it. You won't forget. Okay. This next one, and this is a bad example. I don't know why they put that picture because that is not bad. Onychomycosis. Onychomycosis. Now, that is nail fungus. When a person has a fungus, a true fungus, you guys, not to be confused with a greenie, okay? You guys know that a greenie, although it is a fungus, it is not a contagious fungus. What do greenies come from? Moisture. Water got up under that nail. You didn't prep the nail well enough, or you got it on the skin, it lifted, water got under there, and so it's a mold, which is a form of a fungus, but so are mushrooms, and I love them on my pizza. Okay? We don't want these contagious funguses. Okay? Onychomycosis is a contagious fungus. So, how are we going to remember what onychomycosis is? And I couldn't for the life of me come up with some type of word or so. So I was like, onychomycosis, what does that have to do with a fungus? Well, one of my students was like, I got one. She was super ghetto. She said, oh my sis, you got a fungus. Because you see that? Onychomycosis, oh my, sis, you got a fungus. Okay? You are going to remember them though. They're very similar, but you will remember them if you just study them and associate them the way that I have. When you see them on your state board, all of this that I'm saying to you, it's going to come back to you. It's going to come back to you, but study, okay? Now this next one, remember I said onychia, or anytime you see onychia at the end of the word, it means it's a disorder. So onychosis and onychia, they are both the same. They mean the same thing, but that is an inflammation of the matrix. Okay. Now, this one is another one I couldn't come up with, and one of my students came up with this one. Inflammation. When something is inflamed, it's bigger, right? It's going to be swollen or bigger, right? So she was like, well, onychia, that sounds like Onika, like Nicki Minaj. Onika. Isn't her name Onika? What she got that's inflamed? A big old booty. So, an inflamed matrix, onychia, Onika, Nicki Minaj. Okay, that's the only way we could figure one out that will help us remember. So, inflammation of the matrix. Inflammation. If the matrix, see what can happen if you mess around with the matrix? Mess around with the matrix. Inflammation. And nobody would say, oh, my nail tech did that to me. You just thought you woke up one day with a toenail like that. Okay. Paronychia, that one's easy because it is just a pus filled around the cuticle area. The proximal nail fold is or the perimeter of the nail. Paronychia. Nychia, remember, is just going to be an infection of the nail or disease of the nail. So paronychia is just a swollen pus filled cuticle area, the proximal nail fold. Okay. Bacteria got under there. Okay. Causing pus and swelling, redness. Now this next one, this is our last slide, y'all. This next one is the ugliest word and the ugliest disorder, okay? And one of my students, when I pronounced it, she said, that sounds like a Harry Potter spell. Pseudomonas Aeruginosa. Now, I'm not a Harry Potter fan, but I hear there's somebody on Harry Potter in the books or the movie named like Sirius Black or some type of mean instructor or something with something black in it. Snake, yes, something like that. See, we always got one Harry Potter fan in the group. They're like, Snake? I'm like, I don't know. It never interested me either, but I mean, some people were obsessed. Anyway, so a Pseudomonas aeruginosa is a rapidly growing bacteria, but all of these are a bacteria, right? Or some type of disease. But the thing that's going to help you remember it is that it goes from early stages from yellow to green to brown and then finally black. Okay. Think of a ugly spell, a horrible, hateful Harry Potter spell from a black wizard. I don't know. But that's probably the biggest, ugliest name that you'll have to remember. Okay, because the English language is just weird. Yep, and then you are not touching that. That is very contagious. Obviously, that is very abnormal. We do not touch that. Okay. All right. Y'all ready for the next one? Pyogenic granuloma. Now, this one's kind of easy because that word granuloma reminds me of a granola bar. And what do we have in granola bars? Like little pieces of fruit or whatever. That looks like a dried cherry or something. That is a severe inflammation of the nail where a little red lump will grow from under the nail bed and pops through the nail plate. Yeah, and it leaves a hole like that. That will eventually heal, hopefully. That pyogenic granuloma, it is a little red lump of tissue that grows from the nail bed and pops through the nail plate. Definitely need to see a doctor with that. Okay. Pyogenic granuloma. Think of a granola bar, the little red, I don't know, cranberry or cherry in there. Okay. The last one is the one you are going to see the most in the nail salon and is the worst thing that you can put your hands on. This is why you should be using gloves when you are doing pedicures. It is the most common disorder in probably in the world, I would say, like as far as feet are concerned. And that's tinea pedis. And that is the technical word for athlete's foot. Okay? It will present as severely dry skin on the feet. But here's how you'll know the difference. Because most of the time when you got calluses on your feet, where are they? It's on the heel, the side, on the bottom of the heel. It might be on the side of a toe, maybe the ball of the foot. But it's not going to be in between the toes or on top of the foot or up around your ankles. Okay? Athlete's foot is very contagious. People who have it rarely can get rid of it because in order to get rid of it, you can't wear your shoes that you put your foot in every day because it's living inside of your shoes. You're going to throw them shoes away. You know what I'm saying? And usually you have to take oral medication, which is very expensive. The topical creams have a less than 1% effective, like those Lotrimin creams and sprays that you see in the pharmacy and stuff. That stuff don't work. Has a 1% rate of curing your athlete's foot. You got to go and get you an oral pill, which is very expensive and is not good for your liver. Okay, you don't want to deal with athlete's foot. You got to literally wear a new pair of shoes every day to keep from spreading it. It will spread from foot to foot, from client to you. You can get it on your hands. You can get it on your feet. You can get it everywhere. Okay. It's a fungus. It's a fungal infection, okay? But that is the actual, you will know the difference when you see it on a client. Well, this one you wouldn't want to mess with him anyway because he's got an open wound on the bottom of his foot, right? From where it's peeling and all of that. So, hello.
Hello.
Hi. Can I help you? With who?
It just says senior vet.
Oh, okay. Well. She's not here yet, so you just have a seat and wait for it. I didn't see a appointment pop up. You must have just booked it.
So I thought I booked it for next week, and then I got a notification saying that it was for today.
I don't think you have one today, because we don't have a student that's going to be able to do it today.
Okay.
If you thought it was next week, that would probably be better. Yes,
Okay,
yes,
so I can just come back next
yes. That would be better because I didn't see it pop up on my end.
All right,
So you're welcome. I'm sorry. Thank you. So you wouldn't work on that client anyway because they got an open wound. But a lot of times it just presents as really dry skin, and the client will say, "Oh, just buff it and file it off." You can't. It's a growth.
So it will. So I just want to make sure I have understood.
They know they got it. It's painful. It burns. It's because their feet are always, and a lot of times this happens from just having sweaty feet inside your shoes all the time, not airing them out. Like it's, it can happen from. It's a fungus.
So you wouldn't, because I was like making sure, because I know I have dead skin on my feet. I have to
You will know if you
Okay,
got
you know if
athletes. It burns. It itches. It smells.
Oh wow.
It's all of that. Yeah. Okay. And you don't want to mess with it. Okay. This is why I don't never understand why these nail techs and these salons are like, yeah, just go sit over there in the pedicure chair, in the water, and I'll be with you in an hour.
So cold.
Yeah, well, but you haven't assessed the foot at all. You don't know what's going on with it. By the time you get to them, they don't have anything that you can see because it's been soaking for so long, so yeah. But that's it. That's all I have for you guys. Y'all got any questions as far as the disorders and diseases are concerned?
So we testing on this next Saturday.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Dropping it, open it up for us.
Yeah, I'll drop it and open it up as soon as I'm done with class today. for everybody. Yep. Because I was going to do it yesterday for just them, and I was like, that's too much clicking. I got to go back and do it again. I might as well just wait till today. So that is all. All right.